I know how hard this is. Heart versus job. Soul
Dad, are we in trouble?
versus duty. You signed up for this.
We all did.
This isn't national security.
It's personal.
This is the agency.
I had CIA friends, actually, over the years. And so I had kind of an insider's view of what it feels like. And, but I want to get more of a history. So I started reading some really extraordinary books on the CIA, the origins of it, and from different points of view, from the intelligence point of view, from empire building point of view. And who these guys were, the early guys. And they were all kind of prep school, Ivy League kids who were Anglophiles. And they all wanted to be Lawrence of Arabia. So for them, it was a bit of an adventure game and very romantic. I'm not so sure it's so romantic these days.
But that's where Bosko's coming from.
I think that's part of Bosko, is that he's caught in the big game and the small game, is that he sees the macro and the micro, and his job is to bridge those two things. At the same time, he's managing complicated people doing complicated jobs. Yeah, it was important to me that when we first started talking about this and me playing Bosko, I said, it would be not interesting for me to play someone who was a diplomatic placement. There had to be someone who came up through and really understands and feels at a deep level what these guys are going through. And also a survivor, because I'm sure he had identity crises and breakdowns, and probably was involved with people dying and probably got close himself to that. I think it only works if you have people who really feel it at a visceral level. And I think everybody in this story does.
Well, it's interesting that the psychologist is a big part of this story.
Yeah, that's the Sopranos side of this script. Is our complicated guy is being shrinked, and there's obviously you get more information about him in that process, even if he doesn't answer the question. The camera picks up the answer and keeps it mysterious and complex. I mean, that was one of the selling points. I mean, first of all, it's a script. If the script isn't there, you can't even begin. And it was written by these wonderful playwrights and had real complexity to it. But I watched all of the French series before this came up, and it was one of my wife and I loved that show. And so Joe Wright was a factor too, as a wonderful film director. Atonement is one of my favorite films. I think it's brilliant.
That is a great film.
And so then the actors were the other factor. Is if I wanted to come into this playing pretty subtly what we're going through, but people who had humor, who could get the joke, but had a real depth and history to them, and actors who could play at that level and play quickly. With Michael's perfect casting for this, he's terrific. And Jeffrey and I admired also, such a wonderful actor. And I could see how, he's my primary relationship in this piece. In these first 10 episodes, it's really him. And so it was important that we vibrate together, and that came together pretty quickly. So I'm delighted. Plus everyone else who's been on it. Hugh Bonneville was in this, and who else was on this? Dominic West, was played the director of the CIA, who's very acerbic and difficult, and everyone else who I've interacted with have just been first-rate people. Oh, they all do, because actors are liars, you know? We're all liars. Everything we do is a lie. I mean, there's a truth behind the lie, but basically we're liars. We make up realities, we make up people, and we make them believable. So, you know, I mean, actors play cops really well. They play spies really well. You know, everyone who notices everything. Actors notice details. Much of our work is detail work, and being alive in the moment. And if you're going to be a spy, you got to have both those things. Neither. I just want to go work in the garden, you know? I just want to grow something nice and have some tea, you know, and hang out with my kids, you know, make love to my wife. That's what I want to do.
Well, there's rain in Spain, so you'll have a beautiful garden.
Yes, we've planned it all. I'm going to be very happy there.
Thank you so much, Richard. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.